Prayers for the impoverished, prayers for those that hurt, prayers for wealth and security, prayers for openness. If you have something specifically you'd like me to pray for, go ahead and type it into the chat. Otherwise, I'm just going to get going. We're going to start with some breathing. You ready? We're going to inhale for 4, hold for 7, exhale for 8, and we'll do that 3 times. So let's inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Creator, Mother, Father, God, Divine Spirit of Life, we gather here to celebrate. For those who are here and those who are not, we lift up our hearts, we lift up our face, we lift up our eyes to the hills, because that's where our hope comes from. We center ourselves here in the center of our lives, in the center of our bodies, in the center of this world. We feel the energies of the world swirling around us. We see people here from all over the world. We see them lit up like candles, lit up like little suns, burning with creativity and energy and joy. Each breath adding to the energetic flow. And we imagine all these lights, all these people all lit up, all the people all lit up, and all the animals all lit up, and all the growing things all lit up, and the rocks and minerals, the earth itself, all lit up, illuminated by this flow of life. And we see that the light is all one light, that we are all the same, made up of the same stardust that makes up the stars. There is only one of us. And in this moment of breathing and appreciation, we see that there is only one of us. Our ego dissolves. There is no need to be special because we're all so special. There is no need to be different, for we are all so different. We want the same things. We crave the same understanding. We want to feel satisfied with our work. We want our bodies to be healthy and strong. We want our children to do well. We want there to be lots of food for those who are hungry, lots of opportunities for those who feel helpless. We want lots of money to share and give and spend and save and invest and give some more. We say yes to the flow of health. We say yes to the flow of wealth. We say yes to the flow of breath. We say yes to the flow of creativity. We know that we are never stopped. We are never stuck. We are part of this flow, this endless divine flow. We give you thanks for this endless divine flow. And so it is. Thank you for doing that with me. So, how's everybody doing? You can go ahead and type into the chat if you have something you want to ask about or talk about. I'm happy to answer whatever I can. Like I said, I did get it's funny, my sister called a little bit just about I don't know, 45 minutes ago, and I answered the phone, which I normally wouldn't before I do one of these, but it was my sister, so. And I said, "Oh, I can't really talk right now. I'm gonna, about to go get my prayer on." And she said, "Oh, good. Well, call me later." And I said, "Yeah. Is there anything you'd like me to pray for specifically?" She said, "No, I'm good." And then she says, "Actually, you know what?" She said, "I want a prayer for the impoverished. And not just for the impoverished financially, but for the impoverished in spirit, for the impoverished educationally, for the impoverished in hugs, in emotion, in celebration." And I thought that was a very beautiful request on her part. And I see that. I can see in my mind people who just feel like there's just like dirt that won't grow anything in front of them. When I think of the word impoverished, I think of like Dust Bowl. I think of not just that there's not enough there, but that there's nothing there, and that there doesn't seem to be a way to get anywhere. There doesn't seem to be a way to get anything. There's a hopelessness and a beaten downness that comes to be in the word impoverished. And we know it's a lie. We know it's an illusion. There is always something. There's always something happening. There's always something growing. There's always something changing. There's always something being made new. The world is a rich and abundant place, and while we can't always see it, we can know that it's there. And we can lean away from the desperation and the grasping and the struggle, and lean back into abundance, lean back into curiosity. Where is the opportunity? Where is the money? Where is the love? Where is the solution? Where is the relief from pain? Because it must be here somewhere. It must be here somewhere. So for our prayer not to be that pain goes away, or that suffering ends. Life is pain and suffering, right? I mean, that's not news to anybody. But rather that we become more adept at noticing the lesson in the pain and suffering, the opportunity in the pain and suffering, the invitation in the pain and suffering. Somebody else wrote in that they wanted prayers for wealth and security, a safe home sanctuary. We had other ones for ease and balance in low back, and clarity and focus around next steps. And I hesitated a little bit around the safety and security ones. I'm not sure. I'm not sure it's possible or even desirable. You know, I think the illusion of safety is a big trap. I think it's something that keeps us stuck. And this idea that we shouldn't feel fear, or that we should feel safe or secure or contented all the time, I think it's kind of an illusion. And I think the idea that we should stay in a job because it's safe, or we should not experiment with this because it's not safe, or Chris says prisons are very secure. Yeah, and not so much, right? I mean, your safety, your life is not guaranteed no matter where you are. There was a thing the other day with a helicopter that crashed and killed a pedestrian. Like, you're walking down the street and a helicopter lands on your head. Like, this is how you know it's time to go, right? It's time to go. It's time to go. And not to make light or make fun. It's terribly sad. But, you know, we are all going to die by helicopter or some other way. So the idea that we can prevent that or even really delay it, I think is, again, a bit of an illusion. And this thing about fear, like, oh, I don't want to put my art out in the world because I'm scared, or I'm afraid people will judge me, or what if I fail? Like, it doesn't feel safe to put my work out into the world. Like, well, of course it doesn't. It's not supposed to. It's like when people say, oh, I'm afraid of heights. Like, of course you're afraid of heights. You are supposed to be afraid of heights. Heights are dangerous for people. We don't have wings. Heights aren't dangerous for other animals, but they are for us. So we're supposed to be afraid of those things. You know, we're supposed to be afraid of deep, dark water. We're supposed to be afraid of, you know, things that jump out at us. We're supposed to be afraid of the dark. We're supposed to be afraid of humiliating ourselves publicly. You know, our ability to fit in well with the tribe is as much a part of our survival as the ability to not fall off cliffs. Here's another one, and I don't know why dentists don't talk about this more. We have an animal response to having other people's hands near our face. If you talk to makeup artists, they'll tell you people pass out all the time when they're doing makeup because we hold our breaths. And especially to have somebody else's hands in your mouth, that's very stressful for us as animals. So when people are like, oh, I don't like the dentist, I'm like, no, you're not supposed to like the dentist. We have an animal reaction to somebody's hands on the back of our neck or face, and particularly in our mouth. It's super intimate, and it doesn't feel safe, right? But once you are past the age of reason, once you're above the age of 7 or 8, it's your job to assess the risk, not to avoid all risk, but to assess it. To say, okay, I don't like having the dentist's hand in my mouth, but my teeth are more important, so I'm going to breathe through it. I'm going to consider this an invitation to relax, even when circumstances are not relaxing for me, and take good care of my teeth. I'm going to experiment with getting my work out into the world. I'm going to leave the situations that are harming me. Because, anything that people say, like, oh, it's safe, marry somebody, oh, that's safe, get a better job, that's safe. It's just not. It's just not. However, I do think it's important to develop your own inner safety and security, right? To develop your own resources of calming yourself down and reminding yourself that you're okay and that things are unfolding the way they're unfolding, and there is no other world than this in which things are going better, so this must be perfect. And I want you to have that inner safety and security for sure. What else? What else are you guys thinking about? Anything you're concerned about? Anything you're wondering? Anything you want me to talk about? This is your time. This is your prayer circle. So let me know if you've got things you're wondering about, things that are troubling you. I always get curious about situations that come up over and over again. Like, wow, why am I here again? Why am I having this experience again? Why am I having this conversation again? You know, why is this the same problem, different outfit? You know. So if you're having any of those, I'm happy to talk about it. Sophia says yes. Just yes. Same problem, different outfit. Yes, same problem, different outfit. Say more about that. Okay. So yeah, same problem, different outfit. You know, I don't know why we have recurring issues or problems in our lives. I do notice, however, that we do, and that we don't have, and sometimes I think it's just like, it's a distribution issue. Like you have your recurring issues and I have mine, but I don't have yours. You know, like your problems don't happen to me. I don't end up in the same situation, you know, as you do. I don't notice the same things that you notice. I don't, you know, in some ways it's like, it's like we have our own recurring problems so that we don't have to worry about the entire planet recurring, like everybody's recurring problems. You know, we don't have to think about everything all the time. We can just think about our own stuff, if that makes any sense. I think every time your recurring problem comes up, it's an opportunity for you to go deeper, to investigate more closely. And really, the first thing I'd say is to make some art about it. Make some crappy 5-minute art about it, whatever it is. You know, here I am feeling like an outsider again. Here I am feeling underappreciated again. Here I am having, you know, pushed away someone I love again. Here I am being disobedient again. Here I am acting against my own best interests again. Here I am paralyzed by self-doubt again. Like, to take those, the feelings of that, what is the feeling of that? What is the feeling of being consumed by self-doubt? And put it on paper, you know, draw it out, just stick figures on it, you know, just on typing paper. It doesn't have to be good. In fact, I'd almost prefer that it not be. Or make up a song about it, or do a dance about it, or, you know, get out your clay and make a shape about it. Like, get it, the feeling out, so you can see it and start to interact with it in a slightly different way. And, you know, and use your tools. You know, this is not y'all's first self-help rodeo. You know what to do. You've got books on your shelf. Use your tools. Go to inquiry, go to, you know, do Byron Katie's The Work, do, you know, do guided visualizations, do, you know, whatever. And not with the idea that this problem will go away, but that you will reach a new level of understanding around it. I was talking about my sister one time. We were talking about this thing of like, why does it feel like I'm still writing the same things in my journal that I was writing when I was 9? Like, what is up with that? And when she was a girl, she did gymnastics. And she said, well, I think maybe it's like in gymnastics, like, you know, you're little and you just first learn to do a somersault, and then you learn to do it backwards, and then you learn to do it on the balance beam, and then you learn to do it on the uneven bars, and then you learn to do it triple, you know. And it's always still a somersault, you know, that the action of the somersault is still the same, but you're doing it at increased levels of difficulty. So I think that's true too. I think sometimes our recurring stuff is an opportunity for us to work out at a new level of difficulty, a new level of understanding, a new level of compassion. And again, not that things don't happen to us, but that our bounce back time is quicker, right? That's always a big point of pride for me when I've got something that I know 5 years ago would have sent me to bed for a week. And instead I'm like, oh, you know, like I'm not upset. But I'm not upset for very long. It doesn't put a hitch in my giddy up, you know? So I think the first step is noticing what your recurring issues are. And in some ways notice that, like, oh, of course, that's my issue. right? I don't know about you guys, but every time I get any kind of reading done, right? Astrology, Vedic astrology, human design, Enneagram, any of that stuff, Myers-Briggs, any of that stuff, it's always like, oh, look, there I am again. And one of the things that always comes up is this feeling of that I always have of like, this isn't really my home planet. Like, I'm not really from here. Like, I don't really belong, like a deep sense of not belonging. And I know a lot of you feel the same way. And so now when I go into a room and I feel like, oh, I don't really fit in here, the next voice I hear is my own, and rather than falling down that rabbit hole of like, oh, I don't fit in and I don't belong and I never have and something's wrong with me and I'm broken. Instead, the next voice I hear is like, Sam, of course you feel like you don't belong. You always feel like you don't belong. That's what you do. You feel like you don't belong. It's like, oh, right, here I am doing that thing I always do. Got it. Here I am being me again in that way that I always am. So to get a little comfortable with that, like, of course I'm having a knee-jerk reaction that says I don't belong. But I'm not going to go down that. I'm not going to take that express elevator to hell, because that is the express elevator to hell. I'm instead going to find a way to comfort myself, to gather myself, to reach out to somebody, to remember that I have a friend, and that in some ways there's beauty in feeling like you're not belonging, right? This is what art does. Art is about perspective, your perspective, and you having a slightly different perspective on the world than everybody else does is part of what makes you a creative genius. So maybe cherishing the fact that you feel like you don't belong, because it's part of what gives your work life. So let's see. Wendy says, thanks, Sam. Working through the fear is not talked about enough. It's so important to keep one step at a time and work through it. Exactly. Exactly. The idea is not to stay safe forever or to never experience pain or to never, it's that you go like, oh, wow, this is really challenging me. Okay, so this is called Sam Unscripted in part because I'm really trying to not tell stories that I've told before or not express things in the same way that I've expressed them before. Because, when you've been teaching for a long time, you kind of get your rap down. So, this is a story I have told before, but not very much, and it's a really good story. So as some of you know, I do CrossFit, which is a workout thing that's really hard. It's like fireman calisthenic workout. It's hard. And we were doing a thing. We were actually working out on the beach, and we were doing a bear crawl. So that's when you're on your hands and feet with your butt in the air, like crawling. Yeah. And it's really hard. And I was still pretty new to CrossFit, so I wasn't even as strong then as I am now. But even if I did it now, it's still really hard. So I'm sandy, I'm sweaty, I'm crying. It's super hard. My muscles are shaking. I think we were supposed to do 2 laps. I think it was like, I forget how many meters it was, but we were doing 2 laps of this bear thing. And people were just like smoking me. I was going so slow and just hating it. It was like everything that was awful about gym class when I was little, like, oh God, it was so awful. And I've got 2 voices in my head. One voice is saying like, you could just leave. Like, you're a grown-up person. You do not have to do this. And I was like, okay, that's good to remember that there is an exit door. I could just leave. I could just say I'm done and walk away. I do have control. And there was another voice in my head going, Sam, you can hate this. You can go slow. You can suck at this, but you cannot quit. So I'm like, okay, so I'm hating it. I'm going slow. I'm sucking at it. And I just like 2 steps in a breath, 2 steps in a breath. And finally the trainer comes over to me and she looks me in the eye and she goes, so does it hurt or is it just hard? And I was like, yeah, it's just hard. And she goes, okay, and walks away. And I think about that all the time. Like, does it hurt or is it just hard? Because if it hurts, I mean, if you're in some physical pain or danger, if it's hurting someone you love, like, that's a problem. You got to, pain is an important signal that needs to be obeyed. But if it's just hard, that's how we grow. That's how we stretch. That's how we get better. By having it be hard and going slow and sucking at it and hating it and keeping going anyway. Keeping going anyway. Lynn says, letting go of my concerns for others so I can concentrate on my own work. Right. Yeah, I think we get a little brainwashed that we're supposed to, that caring for others is like the highest and best use of our time. Here's what I notice about other people. I have almost no effect on them, on their behavior. People are going to do exactly what people are going to do pretty much every time, no matter what I say or do. My ability to influence other people's behavior is almost zero. And I guarantee that your ability to influence other people's behavior is also almost zero. There's a wonderful book by Jane Smiley called Horse Heaven. If you like horses, you should read this book. It's a novel. It's sort of a long, complicated novel with a lot of characters and a lot of horses. It's a lot of fun. And one of the characters is a horse trainer, and he's got a sign up in his office that's the Tibetan Book of Horse Training. And one of the things on the sign in this fictional character's office, the Tibetan Book of Horse Training, one of the statements is, keep your mind in its own sphere. Do not pay attention or investigate. Now, I've read this novel a couple of times, probably 2 or 3 times, but the first time I read it, I don't know how old I was, but I stopped dead at that sentence, and I wrote it down on a piece of paper because it made no sense to me. Keep your mind in its own sphere. Do not pay attention or investigate. I was like, what could that even mean? Like, I was so puzzled by that. And I'm, whenever I find something that I just genuinely don't understand, I write it down and I start chewing on it. And it took me years, probably 10 years, before I started to understand what that might mean. So first of all, keep your mind in its own sphere, right? We have our sphere of influence. We have the sphere of our own mind. We have the sphere of things we can touch and manipulate right in front of us, and this is our place of power. This is the only place we have any power, really. So to keep your mind in its sphere is to keep yourself in the center of your own power and to be influencing the things that you can influence. The things that are outside your sphere, you cannot influence. So remove your attention from there. And this thing of do not pay attention or investigate. Oh, here's another CrossFit story. I was in a partner workout some months ago with a woman I didn't know. And so you're trading back and forth in a partner workout, and she would row and then I would row or whatever it was. And usually there's not a lot of talking in CrossFit because you're sweating and breathing really hard. And you're kind of doing your own thing. You kind of keep your mind in its own sphere. But she was kind of chatty, and she was also like a lot of commenting on what other people were doing. And she even like gave me a note, like the way I should be doing the rowing, that first of all was wrong. And second of all, so not etiquette. It's like an actor giving another actor notes. It's like, no, there's a trainer for that. Like, you don't give, Anyway, I disapprove of her. But I was noticing how much of her energy was being spent like sort of, spinning out about what everybody else was doing. And I'm like, and I didn't say anything because it wasn't my place to say anything, but I'm thinking, dude, keep your mind in its own sphere. Like, get your attention back on you. You worry about your workout. Let everybody else worry about their own workout. Like, you don't need to worry about my workout. I got me. That's okay. I appreciate, but helping is bullshit, right? Helping is bullshit, especially unsolicited helping is bullshit. And you need to let people have their struggle. You need to let them have their difficulty. You need to let them have their poor decisions. You need to let them do things the way you would not do them. That's important for them and for you. So keep your mind in its own sphere. Do not pay attention or investigate. So as much as possible, just let stuff go. And then when something comes into your sphere of influence, it comes into your consciousness, it's in front of you, there's somebody in front of you saying, I would like help with this. I need you to do something for me. Would you, may I ask you to? Okay, now it's in your sphere. Now it's in your sphere. You can do something about this. Now you can help because they're ready to receive help, right? So that's my thinking about, your concerns about other people. And it's hard. It's really, when I know a lot of you have, live with, love someone who's an addict or who's engaged in addictive behavior. And, it feels wrong to just sit and wait. But it's their path, it's their journey, and it's not your business. I will also add, in the world of influencing other people, only positive reinforcement works. Only positive reinforcement works. The only thing that works is positive reinforcement. That's true for you and your own behavior, right? So if there's something you want you to do, make sure you put a good reward at the end of it. Encourage you to do that, right? If there's something you want somebody else to do, catch them doing it right and praise them to the sky. Ignore as much of the negative behavior as you can. Again, unless there's, endangerment issues, right? Ignore as much of the negative behavior as you can and reinforce the positive behavior as much as you can. It's the only thing that works. Nagging doesn't work. Worrying doesn't work. Criticism doesn't work. Browbeating doesn't work. Violence doesn't work. I mean, all those things work a little bit for a while, but eventually not really. So yeah. So when people, so if you're finding yourself kind of obsessed with other people and their concerns, just bless them. Just say, oh, that person is the daughter of the moon. That person is the son of the sun. They are cared for. They are loved. They are on their path. I bless them. I wish them well. You could also do the Ho'oponopono, I forget what that's called. But it's the thank you, I forgive you, please forgive me, I love you, right? Something like that. You can tell I'm not an expert in this one, but it's a pretty common spiritual practice of just when they come into your mind, just thank you, please forgive me, I love you. And then redirect your mind to your own work. Just keep bringing it back. And Sophia says, how to remember the joy and love amidst chaos. Yeah, joy and love is chaos. Yes. Sophia says, thank you, Sam. Yes. Legit. I was just looking at my notebooks yesterday. So freaking true. New levels of grace. Yeah. Michelle says, I used to be courageous, motivated, and the eternal optimist. In the space of 15 months, I lost my dad to lung cancer, was involved in a horrific motorbike accident, which broke my back. A year later, I was diagnosed with cancer, went through 30 chemo treatments. Instead of being overwhelmed by gratitude, I'm paralyzed by fear. I feel like a dog chasing my tail around and around. How do I get back to me? Okay. First of all, I'm so sorry. That super sucks. All of that super sucks. And I'm really sorry that you're living through it. However, you are living through it. You are living through it. You are a dynamic person. And every moment is an opportunity to shape the next moment. So it's not going to be like it was for you 15 months ago. It's not going to be for me like it was 15 months ago. 15 months ago is 15 months ago, and that person is gone. That reality is gone. The movie we're running about what it used to be like in our head is just a movie. So And there isn't a world in which none of that happened, right? So this must be the right world. This must be the right thing. And that's not to say it's not painful, and that's not to say we don't wish, the people we love would live forever, that we don't wish we could be healthy forever. But, I broke my back too. I had to learn to walk again. I wore the big brace. I had the big rods in my spine. Like I feel you on the broken back thing. It's not fun. So you start with what you can do. Don't expect yourself to be all, fucking yippee skippy all the time. There's not a better version of you leading some better version of your life right now. There isn't a you that's handling this better. There's just you handling this. So again, I would make some art about it. I'd make some art about the cancer. I'd make some art about your father. I would make some art about cancer. I'd make some art about anything that's coming up for you to make art about. And again, when I say art, I mean whatever you want that to mean. I mean scribbles. I mean large scale art installation. I mean, whatever you want it to be. Maybe it's you're twisting wire, or maybe you're, whatever you can do that's easy and quick, right? Because again, the thing is to get the feelings out. And I wouldn't be quick to paint this with the cheerful brush. I find one of my issues with the personal development community is the fucking enforced optimism. It's all good. Everything happens for a reason. Okay, maybe it is all good in the larger sense of good. Sure, I guess I can get behind that. But it all happens for a reason. I don't buy it. I don't buy it. I don't think everything happens for a reason. I think everything happens. And I think we get to decide what the reason is. But, grief is grief. And suffering is suffering. And you're allowed to live through that. So find the little joys. Find the little things that light you up. I remember when I was recovering from having broken my back, there was a day I was able to put on my own socks. And I was so pleased because I hadn't been able to put on my own socks. And I was so upset because I was like, really? This is my fucking life that I'm like thrilled to bits about putting on my own socks? That's sad. And then I thought, Sam, you are not allowed to make this triumph pathetic. And so I called some friends and they came over and we had a little celebration that I was able to put on my own socks. So, surf the moments. And I think you are still courageous. I think you are still motivated. I think you are still optimistic. Give yourself some rest. Do what feels relaxing and like a relief to you. And get as much help as you can. Get as much help as you can. Angie says, I run with my blinders on, literally my hat and sunglasses to find the hard. Great discipline, trains the body and heart. Love, love, love your CrossFit connections here. Thanks. Thank you, Angie. Lynn says, thank you, Sam. I know this, but needed to hear it again. Yeah, no, we all do. Karen says, thank you. Wendy says, as the birds are chirping in the background. Opa. Yeah, I live across from an estuary, a salt marsh. So there's always birds. Good. Excellent. Anything anybody else wants to talk about? Or yeah, I've never even tried to say this. Ho'oponopono. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. Nothing wrong with that. So yeah, you get to, in these, everybody's life is as hard for them as your life is for you, right? And some people have more dramatic things happening. But pain is pain and suffering is suffering. And it's for everyone. It's the world. It's the world. I still sometimes have a hard time with when things are good, because I put a lot of pressure on myself to appreciate it. Like, this is a beautiful moment. You should be appreciating this moment. Like, there's nothing like yelling at yourself in the middle of a beautiful moment to kind of ruin a beautiful moment. So I guess one of the things I'm trying to learn to do, or to remember to do more often, is to really loosen my grip on moments. Like, whether they feel shitty or whether they feel great, to just notice the moment passing through me, almost like, I don't know, like water. Chris says, making triumphs pathetic. I do that all the time, especially when I'm trying to share that triumph with others. I sometimes feel excited, but then start to feel ridiculous as soon as I open my mouth. Yeah. Yeah, and we're again, it's a survival thing for us to notice the negative, right? It's important for us to notice what's not right, what might be dangerous, what's off, what's what behavior gets disapproved of, what doesn't work, so that we can remember and do better for next time. That's an important survival thing. But it does mean that there's a ton of good stuff and a ton of positive feedback and a ton of all kinds of things that slide right past you without you even noticing. So just to direct your attention, when I teach the Get It Done workshop, which is coming up, by the way, you can go to, oops, I just did that to somebody privately instead of to everyone. Here's, it's at monstergetitdone.com. You can see all the details about the Get It Done workshop. It's one of my most popular workshops, and there's a 10-pay plan. It's not advertised, but you can pay me $39 a month for 10 months if you want to do it. And it's really, really fun, and satisfaction guaranteed, or your money cheerfully refunded. Okay, end of commercial. So one of the things I talk about in the Get It Done workshop sometimes is how we are a little negatively biased from an evolutionary biology point of view, because it's more important for our brain to remember the one berry that made us sick than it is to remember the 99 delicious berries. So I urge you to direct your attention to the 99 delicious berries. Like, yes, you notice the thing that's not going well, or isn't as good as you wish it were, but really force yourself to notice the things that are great. You guys do great. You are great people leading an incredible life. You have accomplished amazing things. You've lived through the unlivable. You have triumphed for so many of you. And I know, especially for those of us who live with depression and anxiety, for those of you who live with chronic pain, for those of you who just live with life, like, I don't know a thinking person that hasn't looked for the exit door occasionally. The fact that you are still here is a triumph. You're not just still here, you're here. You are actively seeking to make your life a better and more peaceful place. You are actively seeking to open yourself up spiritually. You are actively seeking the truth about your gifts and why you're here and who these other people are and what's the point of this. That puts you so many grillions of miles ahead of everybody else. Like, this feeling we have of like, I'm behind, or my life doesn't matter, or I haven't done well. You guys are on the Olympic team. You've done it. You've done it. Feel great about it, and seek out the other people in your life who also feel great about it. seek out the people in your life who will help you celebrate. I am not a very good celebrator. I don't like birthdays. I don't like parties. I don't like fancy things. I like to read quietly in bed. Like, that's my idea of a really good time. So I have to seek out people who will say, yay, that's amazing. Let's celebrate. Because I don't do it naturally. That's not part, So seek out those people who will encourage and help you. Yes, you are on the Olympic team for sure. For sure. This, I was talking to an entrepreneur friend of mine the other day. We went to this amazing place it's like a Buddha crystal store, but it's like the most beautiful Buddha crystal store you've ever been to. They have the most incredible things. And they serve, and they have beautiful gardens in back, and they serve you tea for free. You just go and you can sit and have tea. It's lovely. So we were having this lovely moment, and I was appreciating how lovely the moment was. Like, I'm getting graded on my appreciation. And she was talking about some of the struggles she's having in her business, and I was talking about some of the struggles I was having in my business, and we were busy feeling very sorry for ourselves. And finally I was like, but really, like, we're killing it. We've done so much better than anybody in person, right? We've done so much, succeeded in so many ways. We've persisted for so long. We've done so much of what we've set out to do, and we get to live this life in which, I get to talk about what I love to talk about all day long with the coolest people in the world. I get paid for doing what I love. I have the freedom to make as much money as I want to make whenever I want to make it. Like, I give jobs to other people. Like, it's incredible. It's incredible to me that this is possible. So yeah, you're here. You're a success. You are a giant, screaming success story. Let's see. Wendy typed in, Lissa Rankin's, oh, I know Lissa, she's great. Lissa Rankin's The Daily Flame this morning really is superb. It reads, you are on a divinely led path. Everything is going exactly as it's supposed to go. So please stop your needless worrying. I know sometimes it may seem like everything is harder than it should be and that you've been in the storm too long. I know you're ready for some smooth sailing. But trust me, my love, you are right where you need to be. Stay the course. There are clear skies ahead, I promise. Your trusted meteorologist, your inner pilot light. That's lovely. Lissa's a great writer, and she's cool. Yeah, I mean, again, I take a little exception to the like, oh, it's all going to be okay in the end, or like there's going to be smooth sailing ahead. There may not be. Like, I wish I could tell you that, like, oh yeah, you're living through the, I mean, I can tell you that things do get better and get worse, no matter what. There's absolutely an ebb and a flow to things, but it's not like good times are a reward for persisting through the bad times, or bad times are punishment for good times. And in many ways, this is something I've said before, but it's too important to not say it. The phrase I always go to is, nothing bad is happening. Nothing bad is happening. It may not be what I prefer, it may not be what I had chosen, but it's not bad. So what is happening? What's a better word than bad? Like, am I just heartbroken? Is my ego bruised? Am I disappointed? Is something in jeopardy? Am I insulted? Like, what's really happening? And then again, what is the invitation? Where am I being asked to grow? Am I being asked to stand up for myself more? Am I being asked to calm down and relax? Am I being asked to take better care of my health? Am I being asked to speak up for my own needs more? What's the invitation? Am I being asked to be a better boss? I was thinking about politics, which I almost never think about if I can possibly avoid it. But I was thinking about about how only positive reinforcement works. And I was really wishing that people just focus on getting the work done that they want to get done. All this sniping at each other and back and forth and name calling and derision, like it makes me so tired. Just do the work. Do the work that's in front of you to do, right? So I think I'll pray us out. How's that sound? You ready? You can shift around in your seat a little bit and maybe put your hands on your face or your throat or your chest, or hold your own hands, maybe your belly. Spend a moment just thinking about how wonderful your body is. And I know parts of it are broken, parts of it aren't there anymore. It's not what it used to be. Parts of it aren't working as well as it might, but it is still your body. It is still your home. It is still the only place you live. And your body is working so hard for you all the time. It loves you so much. Your body celebrates you. Your body gives you the opportunity to be here. It's not trying to betray you. It's trying to help you fulfill your destiny. Creator God, we come to you with so much gratitude for this body, this flesh and these bones and this blood as it walks around this planet. We give thanks for the spirit and the soul that animate this body and all the bodies. The bodies are separate, but the spirit and the soul are one. And as we see the other people in the world, the people we agree with and the people we disagree with, the people we like and the people we don't like, and the people who really should stop doing that right now, we may disagree with their body, but we do not disagree with their spirit. We see their beautiful lit up spirit inside. We see the light of them. We see the joy in them. We see the similarity in them. And we thank them for illuminating the path for us, showing us where we are meant to build a bridge, where we are meant to run away, where we are meant to stand firm. And we experiment with our compassion, and we experiment with our understanding. We experiment with not knowing and being curious about other people. And we experiment with not knowing and being curious about ourselves. We stop racing to judgment that this is good or bad, or should be this way or should have been that way, or that we should be this way or that way or some other way. And instead, we come to gratitude that we have an opportunity to explore what's possible for us, what's new, what's different. We open ourselves up to a new thought. Help us to think a new thought today. Be our new thought. Amen. Thanks, everybody. Thank you for doing this with me. See you next week. Invite a friend, won't you?